In the dead of night, a shipment silently crosses international borders. It's not oil, it's not weapons, it's cocaine, and it's worth millions. But behind this cargo, there's more than just a cartel. There's one of the most powerful criminal organizations on the planet, the Ndrangheta. For decades, organized crime in America had a face. 5 powerful families controlling the streets of New York. The Gambino, the Bonanno, the Genovese, the Colombo, the Lucchese. Names that became legends, feared, respected, untouchable. But while the world was watching them, something else was rising in the shadows. The Ndrangheta was born in Calabria, one of the poorest regions in Italy. For years it was underestimated, seen as weaker, less powerful than Cosa Nostra. But it had one critical advantage: its structure. Unlike other criminal organizations, the Ndrangheta is built on blood. Fathers, sons, cousins. You don't join it. You're born into it. And that makes it nearly impossible to infiltrate. While authorities focused on taking down other mafias, the Ndrangheta kept growing. In the early 2000s, everything changed. The Ndrangheta was no longer just a local mafia, operating in small towns in southern Italy. It became something much bigger, a global player. It evolved into Europe's most powerful cocaine broker, building direct, trusted relationships with South American cartels, Colombia, Brazil, Venezuela. No intermediaries, no unnecessary risks, just direct access to the source. They were buying cocaine in massive quantities, at prices no one else could compete with. And that gave them a powerful advantage: control over the market. Over time, investigations began to reveal just how deep their influence had become. A significant portion of the cocaine entering Europe was moving through networks connected to the Ndrangheta. Every shipment worth millions. But the real power was never in the drugs themselves. Anyone can move product. The real challenge is what comes next. Because once the money starts flowing, you have to make it disappear. Hide it, move it, and then bring it back into the system. Clean. And this is where another country enters the story. The United States, not as a battlefield, but as something far more valuable. A financial system. The Ndrangheta doesn't arrive with violence. It doesn't shoot. It doesn't make noise. It doesn't need to. Instead, it invests. Restaurants, import-export companies, construction businesses, ordinary activities, legal on the surface, invisible to most people. But behind that normal appearance, there's something else. Because these businesses aren't just businesses. They're tools designed to move money, to hide it, to reshape it. Dirty money comes in, and slowly, carefully, it disappears into the system, only to come back out, looking completely clean, untouchable, untraceable, and perfectly legal. But there was another key element, a connection that changed everything. The link to the old American mafia. Calabrian clans began working closely with members of the Italian-American families. In particular, figures connected to the Gambino family. This wasn't a coincidence. It was strategy, a calculated alliance. The Americans offered something invaluable, access to territory, distribution networks, local influence, and in return, the Calabrians brought the product, cocaine, large quantities, directly from the source. It was a perfect exchange. Supply meets control. And together, they built something far more powerful than either side alone. A bridge stretching across the Atlantic, connecting Calabria to New York. In 2014, that bridge was finally exposed. Italian and American authorities launched a joint investigation. The FBI, the DEA, Italian police, the Carabinieri, a coordinated effort across continents, codename Operation Newbridge, an investigation built on surveillance, wiretaps, undercover work, piece by piece. They started putting the puzzle together. At the center of it all, one name emerged, Francesco Ursino, a key figure in the Ndrangheta's network operating in New York. And he wasn't alone. The investigation uncovered direct links to members of the Gambino family, including Frank Calle, a powerful and influential figure in the American mafia. What authorities discovered was far bigger than expected. A global network managing the flow of cocaine across 3 continents: South America, Europe, the United States. Secret meetings, multi-million-dollar deals, a highly organized logistics system. This was no longer local crime. This was something else, a global system. In the early hours of the morning, everything moved at once. Doors forced open, lights flooding dark rooms. Italy, the United States, a coordinated strike, dozens of arrests, executed across continents, men pulled from their homes, led away in silence. For years, they had operated in the shadows. Now, they were finally exposed. Operation Newbridge had reached its first target. But arrests were only the beginning. What followed was the attempt to prove it all. Prosecutors built their case, piece by piece. Wiretaps, surveillance footage, recorded meetings, every conversation, every movement, every connection brought into the light. A system once invisible, now laid out in front of a courtroom. An international operation, reduced to evidence. But something became clear, very quickly. This wasn't just a group of individuals. It wasn't a single organization. And it wasn't something you could simply dismantle. Because arresting people doesn't stop the system. Others were already in place, waiting, ready to continue. The network didn't collapse. It adapted. The real strength of the Ndrangheta has never been in its leaders. It's in its structure. A system built on blood, families, generations, every group connected, but able to operate on its own. No central command, no single point of failure. Cut one piece, and the rest keeps moving. Today, the system is still there. Still moving, still growing, but you won't see it. No headlines, no violence in the streets, because it doesn't need it anymore. The modern mafia doesn't fight for territory. It invests in businesses, in cities, in economies, and that's what makes it so powerful. Because the most dangerous system is the one you don't even notice.